Welcome back to Women's Wealth, The Middle Way, the show that answers your questions about work, money, and family. My name is Susan McGlory Michael, and I am the CEO and founder of Glen, a wealth management firm in New Jersey.
I'm Carol Ann Fernandez, COO of Glen, and I'm very excited today to be joined by our guest, Dr. Emily Taylor. She's an audiologist and owner of Taylor Listening Center in Maryland, but is actually better known for her 1 million plus followers on TikTok and as Dr. Earwax. So welcome, Emily.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. It would be interesting for our listeners to hear kind of what first drew you into the field of audiology.
So I've always been math science brained. I knew I wanted a helping profession, and a family friend, I think a lot of people will admit they've never heard of audiology before. So a family friend brought it up while I was in college and feeling a little bit lost, not sure which direction to head in. So she recommended I look into audiology. I took an intro class and it really checked all of my boxes. It was the science I wanted. It's certainly a helping profession, and I liked the idea of going on to get my doctorate for it.
That's awesome. And maybe for those that maybe don't know what audiology is, could you just give a little bit of background?
So Audiologist is a doctoral program. It's an 8-year time of study, and we are the experts on hearing loss, diagnosing it, managing it with hearing aids and other oral rehab services. We also focus on tinnitus, vertigo, and hearing protection, and then among other things. And there's a variety of different settings you can work in: private practice with an ear, nose, and throat physician, in the school system, hospital settings. So it's a really awesome scope of practice. Oh, and also we do earwax removals, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Obviously, TikTok is pretty big now, but what inspired you to kind of go that route and even post a video there and kind of become Dr. Earwax?
It started during COVID. I downloaded TikTok like many millions of other people, and I would just do that for a form of entertainment. I would be scrolling kind of mindlessly, and I think I came across another account of another audiologist who was making wax removal videos. So it kind of inspired me. I reached out to her and, chatted a little bit about her experience, and that's when I kind of just tried to learn about it. The algorithm is a little tricky, so I definitely did not have any background experience in it, and it took a few weeks for the account to really start getting attention. So, and just a piece of advice to anyone starting a social media account, you have to put the work in. It's not just going to happen overnight, and we can talk more about that down the road.
Yeah, I guess just on that, what are some things you've learned since posting your first video in 2021, and have you seen a big change in how you have to do things nowadays, two years later, I guess?
Consistency is key, like anything in life. So I think to get where I hit 1 million followers, it took about 4 months to get there, and I posted every day, twice a day without fail. So wow. The top recommendation is consistency. And the algorithm has certainly changed. Before I started as Dr. Earwax, it turns out the most popular videos on TikTok are actually not the wax removal videos. It's more the hearing protection side of things, which I have just loved making that part of my platform. But nowadays, TikTok is really strict on wax removal. So they will blur out and not recommend the videos. So it's a lot harder to get the same sort of traction as I did when I first started. So it's actually a really safe community. It's interesting. It's a little bit safer, in my opinion, than Instagram. Instagram, I can post any of the gory videos, no issue.
Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, I would not have put that together. And have you seen, since you started doing these videos, have you seen a big uptick in kind of awareness and audiology in general in your practice? Is that kind of what inspired you to even post it, or what was your objective with these videos?
I think I was really just doing it for fun at the beginning, and I think that first person that I saw doing it, she had mentioned on a forum that her business had really taken off after it, so I think that was in the back of my mind. But what's tricky about TikTok is an international app. It's definitely not location focused, at least for my earwax stuff. So I'm using it more as like a platform for education, and it's brought about a lot of really cool opportunities, like talking to you today and working with some famous YouTubers and, being featured on different shows. So it's brought awareness to me, which then has trickled back to awareness to my practice. So it's definitely helped grow my practice, but definitely also has turned into just more of like a platform for educating the public, mainly on the risks of noise exposure. So it's definitely helping people across the world. And daily I'm getting messages from people in Africa and India asking, really awesome audiology related questions, and I help point them in the right direction somewhere local to them.
That's so cool. Yeah, that is. I think the international part is a very unique part and very interesting that people are reaching out to you. I guess, are there any big next steps that you have planned with it, or is it just to keep growing the viewership and awareness?
So my overall goal would just be to continue trying to post on a pretty regular basis. It's very time consuming, and I do it all by myself. I don't have a team doing it. So I would say just to keep up with it, keep the good content coming, and just keep looking for new and exciting partnerships. I have some potential goals in the future to either develop some wax removal products with a team or even open some other cool wax related industries down the road. So you've got to stay tuned for those.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to stay up with what's going on, and I'm sure some of our listeners will. What advice would you give to someone who's either looking to start being a social influencer or just getting into your practice area? You can kind of choose which one you want to answer, I guess.
Definitely twofold, and I'd like to touch on both. Audiology is a really awesome profession with so many different avenues to practice. I love when people reach out to me, specifically on Instagram. TikTok's a little difficult to message on, but I love when people who are thinking about audiology reach out. And I like to actually mentor other up-and-coming audiologists. So my recommendation is find an awesome program. Try not to get into too much debt. So if you have a local program and get in-state tuition, I highly recommend that. And just make sure you do all sorts of different kinds of rotations while you're a student. And then if you're thinking about doing social media, I say totally do it. It's fun. It's a great outlet for people who might not be able to get creative in their day-to-day business. So I've had a lot of fun with it, and look at what other people are doing in your space. So to see what they're doing, what is working for them, not working for them. Obviously, don't copy and paste what they're doing. You have to put your own spin on it, reach out to different people, and get more information.
That's great. Thanks for taking the time to be with us today. I'm sure you're going to get a few more followers from our listeners after this is aired. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Women's Wealth, The Middle Way. Make sure to subscribe to us and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcast app. Join us for new episodes every other Wednesday. See you in 2 weeks.